Okay, so I've been rambling on in Discord lately. I have made a new channel called Skill Discussion now, and this is where I'll be posting like plans for the skill trees and stuff as we do them. I've been talking about ideas, and still a lot up in the air for what we're going to do here, but it's really cool that we've got some ideas. One thing that will probably be a really good idea is that we, for each of our trees, because we obviously have all these classes that are all going to have their own individual trees. There could be like 3 specialisms, and they could all have that similar template, just to make it easier on me. Like if they all have that same template, every time we have a new class during the game, all we have to do then is fill in the relevant skills to the class. And potentially we talked about how actually having stats on the skill tree too, not just skills. Very similar to the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, which I think is pretty cool for the nature of Raindrop Chronicles. It would make the leveling and experience mechanic a bit irrelevant, I think, if we did that, because there wouldn't really be any need for experience or that sort of stat curve that you get from gaining experience if people can gain stats on the tree, and just like the sphere grid. And Final Fantasy X never had a leveling experience system either. They just gain like sphere levels or sphere points or whatever it was. And this could work similar. We could earn class points from monsters and battles in a similar way, and I think that would be easier to do it like that. The plugin does allow you to add stats. I had a little look, so it's an option. We'll see how it goes. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but I'm highly considering it if it goes smoothly when setting it all up in RPG Maker. Something about warrior skills, something that I love, but I know you might be too hard with individual skills and all. But have you played Chrono Trigger? I have, Juice. I've only played it once all the way through, so I can't exactly remember some things. I haven't played it like 10 times like some of the Final Fantasy games, but I do really like Chrono Trigger. Remember how some skills you can combine with other party members? I think that's such a cool thing to do. Oh, I know what you mean. There's a sort of similar thing in Final Fantasy IX with Vivi and Steiner. Steiner was a warrior and Vivi was the black mage, and they kind of worked together in battle where they could combine skills. I think you mean that's Chrono Trigger, that's what you mean about them combining skills. It's very vague in my mind because I only played it once, but I played Final Fantasy IX about 10 times, so I remember that bit more clearly with Vivi and Steiner. Rose likes Chrono Trigger. You are now 20%. Oh my god, you master. But I love Chrono Trigger. I think it's, even though I'm no like extreme fan of it, that special stream canon, he's the Chrono Trigger fan. But I do really like the game. I think it's an amazing story, and I love how they handle time travel. It's really good. Lots of fun. Yeah, but in Chrono Trigger you could do it with any party member. Each party member had their own combination. Yeah, so Chrono Trigger was like just more advanced than what Final Fantasy did with Steiner and Vivi, but it was fun because it makes things a bit more tactical and strategic, because it makes you consider which party members to have in the battle together. So I kind of do like that idea. If it's possible to do something like that, I definitely like to consider it, and how our skills could potentially combine to like sort of special skills. So yeah, well, I'll see. I mean, I can't promise that it'll be a thing, but I can at least make a note of it and look into see how it's possible. It all depends how difficult it would be to implement, because it was Battling Sandwich who suggested stats beyond the skill tree, and as soon as he said it, I was like, I like that idea, but I had to confirm first that the plugin could do it. And when I saw that it could, I thought, yeah, I can consider this now, because otherwise, if the plugin couldn't have done it, unfortunately, it would have had to have been a no. I want to burp again. And it makes everyone have to have their own way to play. Like every person that I've seen playing Chrono Trigger does it with different party members. Yeah, and I think that sort of thing would work really well with Raindrop Chronicles and how the mechanics work with everybody having their own individual class, because it just makes it more fun to think who to have in the party and who to combine together. And yeah, it'll be fun. It adds complexity, like a definite extra layer of complexity, and more thought will have to be given, but it'll probably be worth it to do that. So what I'm going to do, Juice, is I'm going to copy and paste what you said and put it in my notepad file to make a note of it so I remember it. And then I can look into it off stream and see if it's possible. And I don't see why it wouldn't be. But sometimes RPG Maker isn't the most flexible software in the world. It's brilliant. It's very accessible and easy to get into and make a game. But it's probably, sometimes you can't like rely on getting it exactly the way you want. But I don't see why this couldn't be a thing. I'll look into it. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, so I'm going to get the Discord up and just have a run through of some of the things we've been discussing, just to get you up to speed of some of the things we're planning, and then we'll get straight into doing some skills again, and getting those skill trees more fleshed out. And we're only really going to be focusing on early game skills for now, probably, like, because of that it's episode 1, right? We're not going to get midway. Ooh, sorry about that, guys, that's my headphones. We're not going to get like midway through the skill tree in episode 1 at least, so we'll only like really be focusing on the very beginning of the skill tree. And probably it'd be really cool if in episode 1 we show like the squares, like, but like have it so there's question marks there, or add a bit of mystery that these skills will be shown in episode 2, because it's going to be a lot of effort to get a whole skill tree planned out before we do episode 1. So it's cool to do it in bits, I guess, but as long as we know that it'll work, I suppose we kind of might have to plan ahead a little bit so we know that the skill tree is gonna be work well. Otherwise, if we don't think ahead a little bit, we might come a bit stuck later. So we kind of have been planning a little bit things that will come later, like we've talked about potential elemental, adding a sort of elemental effect to the warrior's axe, and with that, and also an ability called Air Slash, which we said is a little bit too fancy for getting at the start of the game, so we've said that will probably be towards the middle of the skill tree, maybe, or start to middle. But these 3 in particular at the top are some of the very early ones we've thought of, and each of those 3 quite kind of neatly fall into 3 potential specialisms for the warrior, because it's going to be cool. I really like the idea of having like 3 specialisms or build types that the player can take for each of the player classes, like so warrior, hunter, vampire, sorcerer, etc, etc. Every single class character skill tree will fall into 3 specialisms. They'll all have that similar template that they follow, and same with if the stats on the skill tree too, they'll gain stats relevant to what would be good for that class. Like so warrior would gain more HP and more defense would be the stats they'd be really gaining a lot of on their skill tree, whereas obviously something like sorcerer would be more magic focused and they'd be getting the MP. It would all be depending on what the skill is, I guess. Random crash, Eric, welcome back. So yeah, we kind of have a rough idea of 3 specialisms for warrior. We said 1 here. I've kind of like wrote them out here. And 1 that deals a lot of damage, is focused on pure damage dealing. 1 that is more about protecting the party and taking the damage, like the sort of sponge of the group. That's like typical tank role, I guess, taking all the aggro. And then the third sort of build for warrior could be the debuff, very much like an Auron kind of character in Final Fantasy X, where they have a lot of debuff armor breaking skills to make the enemies weaker so that the rest of the party can really kick their butts like as well as possible. So yeah, everybody will probably have their sort of preference for which of those they'd like to go for. Some might want to do a bit of all of them, and I think it should work that you can do all the builds if you've grinded a lot of CP points. But obviously, early game, when you don't have as many C points, you kind of have to choose the one you want to go for, I guess. Because, yeah, I maxed out the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X eventually, all of it. But at the start of the game, you have to, like, choose. You have to be like, I'll go for this one. But, yeah, I think people should be allowed to be super OP if they've got the patience to grind. But at the same time, the game should be beatable if you don't grind as well, but with a bit of challenge. So yeah, that we've kind of like discussed warrior a bit, and Kunga suggested some 3 specialisms for hunter as well, and they sound pretty cool. And we've kind of already got 3 ideas for vampire as well, because the guys in yesterday's stream were inspired by that game called Vampire the Masquerade, and that gave the guys some ideas for how vampire could specialise. So I'm gonna try today to get a good basic skill tree done for each of those 3 classes, and we're gonna just finalise warriors as well, because it's there's a couple of things I might want to change with how that's looking. Right, so I'm gonna definitely need to make this sheet this bigger because I want to fit hunters and vampires on here too. I'm just thinking how I can organise this. I want to keep this at the side for you all so you can see what the other classes are that we've got planned. We might add more as we go along. That will be fine. There was one I thought of yesterday that I thought we could put on here, but I forgot what it was. Damn, I forgot what it was. I'll have to watch yesterday's stream back to remind myself. How many skills are you planning to make? All the skills, 1,000,000 billion. Wow. Thing is, if we do like add stats on our skill tree, they'd like be in between the skills, and just adding stats fleshes the skill tree out more and will make it larger than if we had skills alone on here. And we don't necessarily need to have loads of skills, because a lot of the skills, to be honest, are going to be upgrades from skills we've gained. This is Akira's doc here, for example. This is what he's done for warrior, and a lot of his ideas were the ones that we used for what we've got so far. And he's like planned out 5 levels for each of these skills, and I think that's pretty good that it upgrades, because when you get like stronger, well, when the enemies get stronger as you go through more dungeons that are more difficult, we don't, you know what I mean? Level 1 will be super weak, so having it upgrade and get stronger is pretty ideal. So Warcry, it's there at the start, and it's more basic. It's its most basic at level 1, but then we'll see like the second level of Warcry a bit further on in the tree, and same with all the others. There's 5 levels, and they'll come back, and I'll make sure that the tree is designed in a very good way. Like Warcry will have a kind of node or square or box or whatever that looks the same every time it reappears, because the good thing about the plugin we're using, we can like design it to our liking, how we want the boxes to look, the colour codes of them and that. So I'll kind of make sure that the design of them is clear, and people are like, oh, there's Warcry again. And anger, I put that in a circle just on this diagram because that's a passive skill, anger is. So I'm kind of using circles for passive skills and squares for active skills with 2 Ds. But yeah, so it'll probably make, there probably won't be tons of skills, but the fact that there's 5 levels of all or most of the skills, it'll obviously make it seem like there's more. And if there's stats as well on the skill tree, that'll make it seem like there's even more still. So the skill tree will be a lot larger then because of those things. But because we're going to have 3 specialisms of each class, that'll flesh out too. So, well, we've kind of got these 3. Warcry would fit perfectly for the kind of build that is a protector and is a tank and soaks up the damage, because that's a taunt skill. And anger is really good for a very DPS based warrior, because it increases the damage output. And crushing it, I used your name in the end delete because I kind of felt it sums up that quite well, so that's what I've used. And that one is the debuff, it lowers the enemy armour, and I'm still trying to work out whether that should really count on armoured or shelled enemies with rock or hard shells, and anything that's fleshy or squishy, would it be ineffective? Maybe. I suppose one thing we could do if we are going for the specialisms, there could be a skill that the warrior learns that is more of a debuff for fleshy enemies too. And it might be, we could go for a similar name. Obviously it wouldn't be crushing it because it's more about soft than hard, but we can think of a similar name for fleshy enemies. But that's an idea, because obviously we're going to want to think of more debuffs that would really work well. Oh my god, Living on Age, thank you so much, 23 months. Oh my goodness, Mog, what's happened to you? He's invisible. It's half disappeared. Living on Edge, just have some hype in chat, guys. I hope you're doing well, Edge. Thank you for that support. That is nearly 2 whole years. My goodness. Crushing It. Yay, Crushing It's a cool name, isn't it? Thank you for the hype, Elite. Green screen magic too strong for me, which is weird, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, he's white. What is the to green screen on Mog? He's just white. But I have been messing about with my webcam effect since the Windows crashed, and maybe it's done, for some reason it's done that with Mog. But yeah, I'm sorry, Mog. We'll fix you. We'll fix you, I promise. Bless him. TY for the follow. Yes, Rook, thank you for that follow. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Active sills for squares. Yay. Okay, guys. So, at the moment, I've got it so Warcry is the first. And I think that's a really good plan, because you're not going to instantly have it. You have to gain CP points in battle before you can unlock that Warcry ability. And by the time you can probably unlock it and have enough, we're going to fix it so it's at the point when Rose joins the party, and then it'll give some use to Warcry, because otherwise it's pretty pointless if you're solo in battles. It's only really a useful ability if you've got somebody else in the party and you're on your own for the first 2 screens of the game of the Everbloom Forest. So yeah, we'll have it so that it's not unlocked at the start. And then it just feels a bit more fulfilling to have unlocked your first skill, I think. Put him in a blue kitty sweater. Hi Neffel, how are you doing today? It's good to see you. Yeah, good thinking with the Warcry unlocked time. And yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. I'm kind of attached to it being our first skill now. And these 2 as well, being together horizontally as a choice. But I also think, let's get them across. Because we're already going to start introducing the specialisms at this point, I think. Oh, let's just delete this arrow for now, because it's getting a bit in the way. So we'll have a bit more of a gap between them, because what I'm thinking is also having an arrow here, because we can have also another path for the kind of warrior that wants to be more of a, you know, the tank of the party. So if you're into DPS warriors, you'd take the left branch. If you're into your tank sort of warriors and you want to have more that build, you'd take the middle path. And if you want more of a debuffer, you'd take this right path. So you've got the choice straight away, really, after you've learned that first skill. I guess the way it kind of is, how we kind of have it here, it forces you to learn Warcry first. And I guess we have to think, are we going to do that? Are we going to force them to have Warcry? Because we don't necessarily have to. We can also set it up so all these 3 skills are horizontal to each other and the branches continue from this point. I guess this is a design decision we need to consider now, whether we're going to have it like this or whether we're going to have all 3 of them horizontal, because some people might not want to learn Warcry. They might want to go straight to these. So what I'm probably going to do is well, if you guys haven't got an idea in mind, if we haven't got a clear winner of what sort of skill tree we're going to go for, I'll probably end up just doing 2 and we'll have a poll or vote on what's the most popular or what people think is the best. How are you doing? I'm doing good, Naffle. How are you today? Jolly Mr. Doom, I like your name. Welcome to the stream and thank you for the follow. I'm wearing my Twitch today. I think I should show it off a bit more, so I'm going to sit up a bit, be a bit taller. Let's be a bit taller. I've padded up my cushion a bit more so my Twitch logo can be visible. I've been busy recently. Oh, I hope it's good busy though. Hope it's a good busy. Okay, so let's think how I'm going to organise this, because at the moment I'm torn between 2 types of skill trees for warrior. So first of all, I'm going to make this bigger because we have not got the space at all. No, we'll make it longer in width. So I'm not going to delete this because I do like you guys to see these other classes, even though we don't always have them on the screen because we're moving about a lot and showing off the skill trees. I still want to keep it there. So we're going to just move this across. Oh no, we forgot that one. There we go. I've got more here. And if we start adding more skills on here, we'll obviously make it longer too. So I'm going to say warrior skill. Why is there such a massive gap when it goes on a new line? I don't want an arrow there, my goodness me. It's very easy to get the arrows to appear where you don't want them. I'm fighting with this piece of software at the moment. There we go. Behave yourself. Very happy with the new bit and sub donated display. True Baldy really deserve recognition for all those gift subs. Yeah, when he comes in next, I'm going to tell him. I want to make sure he knows about this. Now I can donate bits without kicking off the top spot. Yeah. And it's nice. I mean, it's a shame that the 2nd and 3rd don't show up anymore, but you know, I'll have to be number 1 if they want to show up, I guess. Skill tree idea 1. Oh. What? Honestly. There we go, that's better. We've got them all on one line now. Thank goodness. I'm going to make this text a bit smaller now because it is a little bit on the large side. So yeah, just so you know, chat, if you're curious what I'm doing, I I'm going to be doing 2 warrior skill trees. They're not going to be much different from each other at all. It's literally just a slight change. Because I'm kind of unsure at the moment which kind of design to go for, should I say. So, and if we come across the same problem with Hunter and Vampire, I'll do 2 of those as well. And then we can like have a vote, or you guys can express your opinions on which one you think works best. So basically the difference is going to be instead, like the choice of which specialist you want to be would be immediate on this particular concept, where on concept 1 you're kind of forced to go with the war cry option, and you get the choice of the specialisms coming after that. And obviously we haven't thought of what skills come after them yet, so we could either have it so there's a stat increase at this point, or we could even introduce level 2, but I think it would be far too early to introduce level 2 of the skills at the moment. It's more likely there'll be a different type of skill altogether that they learn that's relevant to the specialism. But I'm actually going to also increase the length and move these down a bit, because the fact is we're not going to get these anywhere high up as they are. They'll be much lower, so I'll put those there. And also they don't have to be this far apart, that will do fine. And we'll move these a little bit closer as well. And is this set auto-saving now? Because for some reason yesterday it wasn't auto-saving these skill trees, and we'll zoom in a bit closer so you can see. Okay, so right, I'm gonna have a peek at my ideas for a warrior then, because we might get some more potential skill ideas. I've only got a few skills now down, but okay, so I had a berserk, an idea for a berserk skill. I feel like if we can have the berserk for warrior, it wouldn't come until a little bit later though, but it would clearly be part of the DPS, wouldn't it? The DPS specialism. What I'm also going to do, just for a bit of clarity, is actually say what the specialism is. And I'm sure we can think of better names. Battling Sandwich mentioned in the Discord that they could have like other jobbing class titles, basically like Raider and things like that. So class titles that are in the warrior kind of category, rather than just call them DPS build or tank build, because that's boring names. So what should move them down a bit so we've got room. Can we rename anger to frenzy? Seems a bit more apt for a warrior. I think that's really a good idea, actually. I think it's a lot more, it makes it seem more extreme as well. Like anger is quite an extreme emotion, but frenzy is even more extreme. So I like that suggestion. I think we'll do that, Cheese. So guys, that is totally fine. If like you think there's a better idea for a name, feel free to say in chat. I won't always say, oh okay, and do it. I might actually prefer what we've got, but sometimes I'm like, I might think actually it's a pretty cool name. So frenzy. Oh no, I accidentally deleted the part of the description. There we go. Do it again. There you go. So yeah, exactly, Cheese. Wrath, which is the extreme of that. And yeah, we could always have a skill called Wrath as well. Like, we're gonna have more skills, so we could think of a potential other skill that is very DPS strength based for warrior that could be that too, because we do need more skill ideas. Like Berserk, we've got a Berserk idea that could come as a later skill in the DPS branch. We've decided to call it Flex on Them Haters, but I don't know if that's the one we're gonna go for. That was kind of a joke, but it was quite funny. And what else do we have? Take damage from another character. We've kind of done that. Is there a cross out somewhere here? Usually there's a sort of strike through formatting. Sometimes that can come in handy for knowing which ones we've done and which we haven't. But there isn't, it doesn't seem. We've just got bold, italics and underlined. Take damage for another character. Yeah, provoke taunt, done. Looks at the enemy, makes them look away, knowing their accuracy. Don't necessarily know we have did that for warrior. That might be more relevant for another class. Lowering enemy defense. That's a debuff. We kind of had that already, except it isn't general defense. We only have it for lowering armor. So we kind of been a bit more. We're being a bit more specific with what it's lowering. Bloodless came to mind, but that would be perfect for Rose. I'd say anything blood relate, with blood in the name, is vampire for sure. Rev could be a lateral ability that raises attack more, but with a chance to harm the player when used. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. Would that be like Berserk? That kind of sounds a bit like how Berserk could work, because Berserk kind of always makes the player stronger, but the problem is they're in this berserk state, which makes them, well, I think the difference is with Berserk in most games I've played, they're unable to be used in battle. Like, you can't, they're out of control. They do all the actions themselves, but they are stronger, and when they're out of control they might accidentally hit another party member. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, Berserk is the standard name, but we can call it Wrath instead, I guess. I guess the question is, does Frenzy sound more like a Berserk sort of skill? Is Frenzy more ferocious than Wrath, do you reckon? Like, with the word? So part of me thinks Frenzy is quite a very ferocious word that could actually fit with the Berserk skill more. But I don't know, actually. I'm just wondering. But yeah, so we've got 2 types of skill trees. Let me know which one, if there's a sort of type you like more, feel free to say, because at the moment I'm unsure if we should be forced to learn Warcry and then start branching off, or whether we should get the choice straight away of which. But we'll decide. But at the moment, I'm going to save it, but we might move on to Hunter as well, because it'd be really cool to get a basic idea of both the Hunter and Vampire done today, but we can still work on Warrior too. We can switch between them all and talk and suggest ideas for all. So I'll probably make it longer so we can put Hunter and Vampire here, because I like working all on one big sheet rather than have loads of docs open, and it's a lot easier to move between them all then. Frenzy and Berserker's words go together like chips and gravy. Yeah, so you reckon we should keep the traditional Berserk name for the Berserk skill then? No reason why we can't have one called Wrath as well. I'm sure there's many other skill types we can have that would fit under that kind of, that would suit that name. Because we're going to have to be creative and think of lots of skills. But don't forget, each of these skills are going to have 5 levels each. So, like in it, here it's planned for 5 levels and each increasing with power each time. So later on, as you move through the skill tree, you'll see the 2nd level, then the 3rd, then the 4th. It'll work a bit like that. So what I'm going to do is, Berserk wouldn't be a passive skill, so we'll use a square for that. Berserk is something you'd actually use in battle. Okay, so I think Berserk's something you use in battle, and my mind's gone blank now with the nature of Berserk and how it generally works. Like when it, because Berserk can also be something that's given to the player as a kind of status effect, like a bad one, like poison sometimes. Maybe, I think I remember some RPGs doing it that way. But I suppose it can be used strategically as well in some cases. I'm going to put question mark there because we haven't really confirmed if we're going to have a Berserk yet. So what would it be lower? I wouldn't know how would this be worded. I'm going to just put text here, description here, because I can't. I'm not going to spend time wording it at the moment. I'm probably going to look up how it's generally worded in RPGs later on. Okay, so we'll just pop that there for now in each of the DPS ones. And I don't know if we're going to have it this high up, you see. We'll just pop it there for now. But because we are going to think of random skills and we're not going to know their place on the skill tree, so we'll just pop them anywhere for now. One thing we could do actually is have a little box. Could do it like this. Can it be to the back? Yeah. So literally all I'm going to do is, if you guys suggest a cool skill, I'm going to pop it in this box, and I'm going to do the same for all the other classes too, because And I'm going to put the ones that we've decided. I don't want it to be a square. I'd rather it be a rectangle because the square's a little bit big for my liking. So just get rid of that and get a rectangle instead. That's better. And put it to the back. It's a bit bright. We'll change the colour so we can actually see the arrows. So, yeah, I'm just gonna pop them in there. Who cares if they look a bit messy? And I'll stick that underneath, in between both the trees. Because chances are we might like come up with a few ideas throughout the stream for what could work as skills, and we're not sure what build they could go into. And it'd be just easier to just pop them in a box and not have to really consider the build or position on the skill tree. That can come later. But having a box for all ideas would be awesome. Okay, so I'm going to make this even bigger now so we've got room for the hunter and the vampire. Yeah, it's nice and big now. So I'm going to literally just do the same thing, because Battling Sandwich had some really good ideas in the Discord yesterday. And suggested that all the classes could have the same template basically. So that's what I'm going to do, because we are going to have a lot of classes in this game and it could become a very time consuming thing if we don't have a template to work by. So but we're going to colour code things. We're going to colour code all the different classes, because we're using blue for warrior and we'll use a green for hunter, I'd say. Let's pick a nice pretty green. That's pretty green, isn't it? It's a bit bright actually. Can't see the white against the green. Oh, gradient. Nice. Yeah, I think that green, don't know, I'm not a fan of like pure green, if I'm honest. I prefer a little bit of a, I guess a little bit more of a turquoise kind of green. That's nice. I'll use that one instead. Hi Storm, how are you doing today? It's awesome to see you. Hope you're having a good day. Getting all our skill trees colour coded. We're going to get the hunter and vampire put in there too. Because all the skill trees will be working off a very kind of similar template, just to make life easier on us. And I've got at the moment what the builds are on the trees to show you guys that they're represent different builds basically, but they're not. We don't necessarily have to call them now. Let's get the Discord up and see. Yeah, Bell Sandwich said Raider, War Chief and Despoiler just as examples that we could call the different warrior builds, and I think that it's a lot more interesting to give them actual subclass names than just call them tank build, DPS build, debuff build. Just gives it a lot more personality. So we will do that eventually, and to be honest I might just name them that now. Even though they might not be the ones that we go with, it's good to be cool to just name them something like that for now. So for now though, I'm gonna just replace the text that we used for warrior with question marks. Doing fine. What did I miss though? Hunter, yeah. If you was here yesterday's stream, we've been, well, there's a little bit of a description here on the left. We're basically focusing on warrior, hunter and vampire for now. We've got all these other classes that are confirmed and unconfirmed in the game, but it's cool to think about them sometimes and how they might come in the future, but we do want to focus on those three, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to be making a cool little skill box for warrior, hunter and vampire. So I'm going to just call that one hunter skill ideas, and all the skill ideas that you guys have, if you come up with any in chat today or even in the Discord, I'll pop your idea for the skill in this box for the relevant class, and then we can consider afterwards where that on the script skill tree that sort of skill would fall. Should we make it a what blue is that? I want to make the box that colour blue. There we go. And the hunter one that green. That's better. I want to make it a little bit pretty. And we'll do I'll get the template, the vampire template put in as well before we work on the hunter. And then we got all the skill trees in here and prepared. And then it's just about filling them in really. And at the moment I've got like 2 concepts for each of them because I'm a little bit unsure what the best approach with the kind of layout for this very start of the skill tree, whether we should have the choice of 3 right at the beginning, or have the player be forced to pick one first before the paths start branching. So there's kind of 2 concepts at the moment. Probably keep it like that until we can have an idea which one's the most popular. And then once we have an idea, if like people are like saying, oh, concept 2, we'll go for that one, then we'll stick with that style and template then. Kung, where is it? It's in skill discussion, yeah. Kung said she has 3 suggestions for hunter specialist: archer, fauna friend and chatmaster. So I'm actually gonna use her kind of archetype specialist for now, unless we come up with another way to flesh them out or alter them, but this will be a good kind of base to go on for hunter. So so it was the one that was more DPS out the 2. Say that one probably is. And Battle Sandwich had some suggestions for names for the warrior one: Raider, War Chief, and Despoiler. So I don't know which one would be which because I'm a noob. War Chief. Hang on, let me read this. Right. I'm gonna have to define these so I know what each of them mean, because I do really like the names of those, but I don't know which one would be DPS, which one would be rank, and which one would be the debuffer. War Chief. War Chief sounds like it'd be the tank, but maybe I'm wrong. Does it? War Chief means supreme leader of a horde. What does concept say that? Oh yeah, I should add the description too in the sheets of peeps now, so I'll do that. Because otherwise people won't understand. So don't worry, I'll do that. Just trying to get these. No, does anybody know which one is which? Euros, can I write the identity skills on the free hunter concept choices? Sure, we've got a box here. Let's say we've got a hunter skill ideas box, so anything you do suggest will go in here, and then we can think of a good place that can go on the skill tree later on once we're at a point that we can consider that. But it's just a lot easier to put them in a little box for now, and then we can consider what we've got at the end after. So that's what we've kind of done for warrior. There's a few skills here that we're not sure of their place on the skill tree yet, so we've popped them in here, and we've kind of set in stone what the first three are going to be for warrior. But I'm trying to figure out which one is which, because I'm believing Raid is the DPS one, War Chief is the tank one, and Despoiler's the debuffer. But I actually think Battle Sandwich means that Despoiler's the damage one. Because Raider's more like a dexterity speed kind of person. And to be honest, it's hard to imagine a warrior as someone with speed. They're always slow in my opinion, so maybe we won't go for the Raider name. I don't want to call it Barbarian because we're going to have a Barbarian class, and to be honest, one thing I thought about was because if we go over to our we have a Berserker here, but I think I want to call it Barbarian. Because Barbarian, you might think it's similar to Warrior, and it could be a specialist of a Warrior, but I feel Barbarian is very different. And Barbarian, we said, is the naked man. He'd literally just have a cloth on his private parts, whereas Warrior is quite armoured up. The Barbarian has a mace or a club, and the Warrior has an axe, so they do differ. Barbarian just a lot more unskilled, really. Barbarian has no skill or finesse, they're just a full-on rage person, whereas Warrior is pretty trained in combat and a leader more. Whereas Barbarian's not really a leader. They're usually just a bit of a Leroy Jenkins. So I'm going to I feel like Barbarian's a better name than Berserk, especially if we're going to have a Berserk skill for Warrior. So we'll keep that as Barbarian. But a DPS kind of Warrior wouldn't be a Barbarian. I'm sure there's a better name we can have for that. We'll think. Hunter is going to use bow. Is he going to have ammo in his bow? Warrior's more of an armoured dude with Yeah, Barbarians, exactly. He's the naked one with the club or the mace, and the warrior is very armoured. I mean, you have your knights and stuff, and they're a lot more paladin-like than your warriors. Of course, they're more your sword and shield guys. So there's a lot of fighter archetypes, isn't there? They're not all the same at all. And he is going to use the bow. Bow and arrow is the weapon for hunting. It's probably a good idea now you say that for me to put the weapon they use as well here, so people know. So what I'm going to do is this. And I'll actually put that on a second line, just to make things clearer for people that come in the stream and hang out. And like you say, I'm going to put the descriptions as well for what each of the builds are, because then people can read it and they understand straight away. Then there's no need to have to keep explaining. And as for ammo, we haven't really considered yet if the actual ammo is going to be a thing. Right now, it's probably just normal bow and arrow and you imagine the ammo's there sort of thing. It's not really been super confirmed, but I won't say no to the idea of considering having ammo. But it's not confirmed yet. It's still a bit up in the air whether it'll exist. Because I think in general Final Fantasy games, they don't really consider, it's not as realistic as having actual arrows or ammo. I can't think of anybody in Final Fantasy that did have a bow and arrow now as a weapon though. I'm not familiar to any characters that were kind of a range job. Not in the later Final Fantasies anyway. Maybe there was in Final Fantasy 3 or 5, the ones at the jobs. Backweed Coffee, welcome back, Elite. Ooh, sounds really yummy. I want some. But yeah, if you, to remind you, Elite, what we've been doing, we're gonna get the Hunter and Vampire skill tree templates up as well. And I've also made a little box that we're gonna have. So you guys, if you suggest any ideas for the warrior skills or hunter skills, I will write them in a little box and pop them in, because that way it's a good idea to keep note then of skills without having to consider where they're going to fall on the skill tree at this stage. And I'm also putting the weapon in brackets, just so peeps know, basically. But we need to get the vampire up as well. So I'm also labelling the build types. And I'm currently putting in the ones that Kung suggested. And I'm going to write a little description to go with each of these so people know what the plan for these builds are. And it might inspire some ideas then if I actually write this out for you to see. And of course, guys, even if any of your skill ideas don't fit in a particular specialism, that's okay. Still feel free to suggest them, because we might still be able to find a place for them. But just suggest anything that comes to mind that you think could be cool, really. So where is what Kung said? So Archer, very powerful in ranged attacks, and I'm going to put DPS as well in brackets. Because DPS is anything that's really power focused, isn't it, to be honest? And it feels like that would be the DPS one. And we'll make that text a bit larger. So I'm gonna label them all, the build types we've got in mind for each, and I'll do the same for Warrior 2, and then we'll I'll do this for Vampire as well, so we can get theirs put there as well, and then we can spend the rest of the stream putting ideas for skills in the boxes and planning out where they could fall on the skill tree. Fawn a friend doll, is that like Ranger? Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to get those descriptions down. These are basically what Kung had suggested, because she is she's really fond of the hunter class. That's what she plays in games, and she's come up with them, and we're going to kind of use her suggestions as a sort of base for our specialisms, and they don't have to be set in stone. We could always alter them a little bit, but it'll be a good base to go on, I think, because I don't think we had any ideas other than this for our 3 hunter specialisms. But Fawn a friend is well, I'm not sure we should call it Beastmaster, considering we have a Beastmaster class over here. As you can see, it might be super small on stream, but there is going to be a Beastmaster class. And Hunter, it's kind of going to dabble in that a bit with one of its specialisms, and have animals in battle, but it's gonna be different. It's obviously not going to be as focused as Beastmaster. Beastmaster would go far more into that, and the animals would probably be different too. The animals that Hunter would bring into battle would be different to what the Beastmaster would have, and I definitely see the hunter animals as a sort of tank for the hunter, because the hunter's really squishy, and those animals would protect the hunter, so they'd be the hunter's aggro. Maybe Kung suggested that yesterday, that they'd work as a sort of aggro tank for the hunter to stop them, so they take the brunt of the attacks instead of the hunter. Because one thing we have to realise is that if you do go for the hunter and not the warrior, you're not going to have a tank. Rose isn't a tank. She's very squishy, and you're not a tank either. So for the whole of the Everbloom Forest sequence of the game, there won't be a tank in the party. So taking that kind of specialism as a hunter would be a smart idea. Gonna go dark for 10 to 20 minutes to make all 3 hunter subclass skills. Oh, good job, Storm Eagle. We do have Akira's document, just to remind you as well. Where has he got this? So we are going to take Akira's ideas into account as well, and some of your ideas might merge with these quite well. We might be able to merge them. Hi Legmog, how are you doing? So sorry for the delayed. Hello, how are you doing today, Legmog? The best is for us them all. Oh my goodness, you're gonna make me have such a large head, Legmog. I appreciate the compliment. Grinch was the answer. Check some of these. Battler creatures, animals. There is a wolf for hunters. Tamer subclass. Yeah, it'd be super cool to have like very hunter-like animals for the hunter, and then if someone is a Beastmaster class in the game in the future, they would have other sorts of animals, other beasts that are different from the hunter, just to give them make them a bit distinctive from each other. But I've copied your link. So here we go. I'm having a peek. I like that. I definitely like the wolf. That's very hunter-like. So yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty fun. I'll keep that there. Thank you, Storm. Okay, so let's get... What were we in the middle of doing? Oh yeah, I was in the middle of writing those descriptions. Your typical Beastmaster or caregiver of animals. I'm going to use the second line, caregiver of animals, rather than Beastmaster, simply because we've got a Beastmaster class already. So I'm actually going to copy this because we've already got the sizes correct here, so to save time. Actually, we'll just do this. Yeah, we'll make it a bit wider, so... Trap Master. And description for that is a survivalist that uses live traps and venoms for keeping the foe at distance for range attack. How can we sum that up? Survivalist that uses traps for keeping foe distance. Pretty long description, but I think it's necessary to... There we go. It doesn't matter if some of the boxes are bigger, as long as the main thing is we get a good description there for each of them, otherwise people won't know what they mean. So I'm going to do the same for these ones. I'm going to move these ones down. Short question, from what to which level characters go mostly? 1 to 10 or 1 to 50? Do you mean like what's the leveling going to be in this game? Is that what you mean? Like what is the max level going to be? Just want to make sure I've got your question correct. Storm. Well, I'm going to tell you now, we might not have leveling in Raindrop Chronicles. We might actually go for more of a Final Fantasy X kind of thing, where what the progression you gain is class points or class levels, rather than actual experience levels with a curve. Because the reason for that, it's only discussion at the moment, it's not 100% confirmed at this point, but we talked about having stats gainable on the skill tree. Just like the sphere grid in 10. I don't know if you've played Final Fantasy X, but they have a skill tree very similar to this in that game. And it doesn't just include learning skills, but it includes learning stats as well. So they get gains in HP, strength, and all that, etc. And that is how they learn skills in that game. They don't learn them from experience. And we kind of considered taking a similar approach and adding like in between skills, having stat boosts as well. So somebody like the warrior would have HP sort of stat gains on their skill tree, and strength ones maybe if they go for a more DPS build, and the tank build would be more focused on HP sort of stat gains. And every class would have stat gains based on the relevance to what their class is, and their build. And it if we went for that kind of approach, it would make experience and leveling up irrelevant in a way. So we might consider removing it from the game altogether if it doesn't offer any benefit. So it's not, like I said, it's not confirmed yet, but there might be a chance we'll go with that way. And it works really well with Raindrop Chronicles because it's a very class-based system, with a lot of playable characters that will be rejoining the party, leaving the party at different times throughout the story. A lot we won't even meet till end game. So if you think about it, imagine meeting, say, an illusionist in episode 4 of Raindrop Chronicles, and he's level 1. You'd be like, this guy's super weak. When the rest of the party are level 30, you'd be like, holy crap, this guy's weak. So in a way, not having a leveling system kind of at least sorts out having to face that problem. And I suppose you could just make him whatever the rest of the party are and average his level out, but it kind of doesn't feel like you've done it in a way if the player's automatically level 30. So it becomes easier to balance from a sense. Yeah, I think having that sort of concept will be easier, and it'll just having everything on the skill tree rather than having to cross-reference stuff with the stat curve could get a bit confusing. So just like disabling all that part, disabling that stat curve and experience, etc., and just literally having everything in the skill tree just makes life a lot easier, I think. And they'd all take a very similar template, like what we're doing now with having boxes and circles with question marks in them. We'll have like this template where we've got all the boxes and it'll be the same for every class, and all we have to do then is fill in the boxes with the relevant skills for the class and the relevant stats for whatever is appropriate for that for that class to be gaining. And it's just an organised way of doing it then, and it'll make things a lot more simple and easier on us, I'd say, for sure. So likely chances are we will go with that kind of idea, as long as we don't encounter any problems when making it work in RPG Maker. If it goes easy for us, then we'll defo do that. Okay, so we've got the descriptions there. We've got that sorted now. I'm going to just do the same for. Well, we haven't really thought of the names for warrior yet, actually. And although Battling Sandwich mentions some, I'm not sure which one they would fall under. I think War Chief could work as the tank one. I'm going to put tank building back in brackets, but we don't have to keep the name. We could potentially change it, even though I kind of like that one. I'm just not sure what we'd call the DPS warrior or the debuff warrior yet. What size is that? 28. We'll make that smaller. We don't need that to be that big. That can be like the description. And I'll just put question marks above those to show that we haven't thought of the name yet. You know why size 19's the text? It's a bit of a weird number to have as a text size, but that happens to be what it is. I'm already getting hungry. I'm going to need my almond milk. Okay, so I think that's okay for those. We've got those sorted. We've got the skill boxes there for them. So now we're going to get vampires down, I'd say. And then we can start thinking of skills once we've got them. But we need to make this a touch bigger. We've got room. And we'll have red for vampire because it's blood, isn't it? It's based on it's a blood related class. I'm a neat freak and I like everything aligned, so Right, we'll change the colour. No, we'll change the text first and then we'll change the colour after. Oh my goodness. Sometimes when changing the names of these titles, it's very... It misbehaves. Maybe bruiser for the warrior debuffer. Oh, that's cool. Is that what that means? I've heard that word a lot. Nice. And if it fits, then we'll defo go for that elite. I'll put it there for now. Is that how you pronounce that word, by the way? Did I say it correctly? Bruiser. I'm bad at pronouncing things. When I was a kid and used to play Final Fantasy games, I've said all their names wrong. And I still say some of them like that today, out of habit. You said it right, yay! Bruises imply internal bleeding, which is like oh, okay. You said it right. Bruiser a warrior who can deal damage and sustain themselves in combat over time. So you think it's more suitable for DPS rather than the debuff one then, even if they're more of a damage dealer? We could definitely have more of an aggressive name for the DPS one. One that isn't barbarian, because that's natural class. But yeah, these are good starting points to have. Even if we don't officially go with these names, we might as well have them there for now. It's better than question mark. Okay, so vampire, and its teeth is the weapon. Mouth. So Rose is quite different to a lot of the classes in this game. She's one of the few that won't actually have a weapon. She uses her own teeth. So she relies on that close ranged combat to do that, and it potentially puts her in a dangerous position as a squishy one. So she will have to rely on things like drain, self-healing capabilities to make up for that. Maybe she can maybe work as a sort of rogue and fall under the thief archetype a bit, because I can't see her falling under the mage archetype or the warrior archetype. So out the three archetypes, she'd mostly fall under the thiefy, roguey sort. With maybe she could be quite good at being a bit like stealthy and be good at hiding herself and all things like that. Who knows? She's got to have something she's good at, otherwise she'd die. So let's just make these red, and then we'll fill in potential specialisms for vampire. And I know Akira had some ideas, so I'm probably gonna have to have a look at where I've got those written down. For example, there could be a Juggernaut. Juggernaut's a sly warrior with huge defensive capabilities and offensive ones, but they lack accuracy and speed. And yeah, I think all our warriors should be slow in general. They're all powerful, strong, but some of them are more DPS, some of them are, well, one's more DPS, one's more tank, and one's more debuffer. So it's just really, I mean, we kind of got War Chief now as our tank one. But yeah, the Juggernaut seems to be one that would fall under a more DPS and tank, like be a bit of both. I suppose, who knows, if we want to really go in depth of it, we could give names to ones that go 50-50 with two of the branches. Because some people might want to mix and match. Some might not want to go all for one. Some might want to split it. But then you don't fully specialise then, unless you grind like crazy and max out the skill tree. Ooh, is that a bit bright? Nah, I like the bright red. Well, it's not too bright, like that's pure bright red, so this one isn't too bad. If we go too dark, it won't show up against the background anyway. To be honest, it's not really showing up that much. That's better. It's a bit easier on the eyes. The green and red is a very strange combination of colours. Let's change it immediately before our eyes bleed. Wait, there's more green and pink. They are a threat to deal in normal situation, but can be dodged and outsped. Okay, so we've got them in. We've got to just replace the hunter specializations with vampire ones now. And because I haven't looked yet, I'm going to just put question marks in for now. Get rid of that text because we'll confuse people if we keep that there. People are like, Trap Master for vampire? Archer for vampire? And we'll be having a short BRB in a mo to meet myself some almond milk to fill my hungry tummy up. And then when I come back, oh, why is that changed back to green text? I swear I changed it to red. Is Venom's a word? Because it's coming up as a spelling error here. Is Candor, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I feel really happy. We've got the skills, the basic skills anyway in place. What we'll probably do if we make them a bit longer and fill more in, we'll just move these boxes down a bit, that's all, and make the canvas larger. But I like that we've got these boxes so we can put the skills in there. But we're not going to go super into depth with the skill trees in episode 1 stage of the game. We'll literally probably do it so it covers the Everbloom Forest area and the next dungeon. Well, approximately what we believe people can fill in that amount of time. And once we get to the stage of the game where we need to do more and expand, we will. And we might have to introduce, there might be a new class that's joined the party at that time that we'll have to consider. But we don't want to do too many at once, too many skills at once, because it'll be overwhelming if we have to put all those in RPG Maker in one go. So we'll probably keep some of the ideas in our boxes. We'll have our warrior, hunter and vampire boxes, and we'll just keep them in there until we believe there's a good point to work on those. But we might put them in the skill tree maybe, but we'll just have to tell ourselves and be strict with ourselves not to work on too much at once. But yeah, we'll see. Because we could always split the box up and say we can label it and put mid skill tree and end of skill tree just as a guide, so we know if we do decide what the point that could come. What was going to do? But yeah, we can eventually get rid of the concept 1 and concept 2 once we know the template we're going to go for. We'll stick with the 1. but I've just got the 2 there for now, so you guys can see, and you can say which one you prefer out of the 2, and we'll go with whatever's generally the most liked, and then we can get rid of the copy. Take a look at some arch ideas in the skill discussion on Discord. Sure, we've got quite a few to look at. We've got Akira's thingy. We've got these to look at. And I'll look at the ones in Discord too, and any that you've suggested as well. We'll do that. I'm going to go on my BRB now, get my milk, and when I come back we'll do that. And because I think Hunter will be best to work on first, and then we'll do Vampire after that. And Warrior, we're kind of at a point where we've at least done a bit of that, so we're okay. I mean, we can expand on it, of course, but we're at a good stage. So we definitely need to work on Hunter and Vampire now. Venom in singular and plural. Okay, so I have spelled it wrong then, because I put an S at the end at the moment, and it's come up with a lot. Oh, it hasn't now. Oh, there is. Okay, so survivalist that uses traps and venom. There we go. I put venoms to get rid of the S, and that's probably fixed it, hasn't it? There we go. You're getting there, Storm. GG. Okay, so I'm gonna go and BRB for a few minutes, and when I get back, we'll get some hunter skills put in our box. We'll get them put in the box first, and then we'll pop them in where we think they could fall in as early skills on the skill tree after. We'll just think of which ones would work best as the first 3 skills, and then keep the others in the box. Okay, be back very soon. You're going to work on Unity? Nope. Is Canada. We're very minimal on coding in this stream. We're more like very focused on world building and storytelling more than the coding side of things. So we're sticking to JS, JavaScript and RPG Maker just to make life easier on us. Because no lie, with Unity I'd have to probably learn a course. It'll probably take me a couple of years to get to grips with it, and that will delay our development for Raindrop Chronicles. But if you want to read more about the project, you're more than welcome to, and anybody else who's hanging out who might be new and curious, feel free to have a little peek at that. And I'll be back very soon, chat. Give me a few. Okay, I am back. I have returned. I've got my milk, my almond milk. And that should keep me nice and full before dinner time. I don't know why I'm hungry so early. I had some lunch just before stream. Okay, we're on the wrong screen. Also, I found this website, so I'm going to recommend it again. TV Tropes, really good website for coming up with some ideas for not just for like classes and all those things, but storytelling and tropes in general. It's a really good website for that. And this article I found literally rambles on about Warrior, and it talks about some of the different classes as well. Time Mage is here. Where is Warrior on here? Can't even find it. So I might have a peek at that article as well. Oh my goodness, guys, what have you been doing? What have you been doing while I've been gone? Throwing things in the air, eating children, making it seem like I wouldn't notice. Of course I've noticed. I see everything. Archer is good. Warrior is also. Thank you, Cyberfart, for the follow. What an interesting name you have there. It's lovely to meet you. She's like, Mum, I'm the mum of this stream. I'm like the least mommy person ever, to be quite honest. Hi, Cyberfar. Welcome. It's good to meet you. How are you today? Hope you're having a good day. Hilarious. Now it is. It's great. I'm a fan. Maybe she does thinking face. Which I'm curious, guys. Out of Warrior and Hunter, which one do you think you'd play as when given the choice at the start of the game? I like both. I'd probably be more inclined to be a Warrior because I'm very much a melee kind of Leroy Jenkins kind of person. That's my preference. I rarely play as the range types. I think Hunter has a lot of interesting things about it. They're lethal. Okay, so I think it's time to consider some Hunter skills. I'm going to have a look at the Discord then. Oh my goodness, you've left me with some info here. Okay. Basic subclass around basic attacks and passive skills, which allows to find the quickest and easiest way to kill your opponent with pinpoint precision. Woodsman. Oh, so you've thought about the levels and how we'd get more. So there's Woodsman, passive skill, increases evasion chance and critical. We'll take all this just a bit at a time. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to copy and paste what you've said. I'm going to put it in a notepad file just for easiness, so I don't have to keep switching back to Discord. So ideally I do like to have our little diagram open most of the time so people's in the streams can see what we're doing. But okay, so we've got Woodsman. Let me get all this neat first, and then we'll have a proper look. And I'll probably copy and paste Akira's as well, but we'll work on yours first, and then we'll look at Akira's after. And I think Kung suggested a few ideas too, so we'll take hers into account as well, and we'll pop them all in this box here, and then we can consider what ones we should have early game to unlock. Okay, so Woodsman, sharpened tips, piercing arrow, nimble marksman, puncture in the sky. Okay, that's quite a few skills. I like it. Lots of choice there for us. If I knew nothing about the game, I'd probably do the Hunter first. You would? My favourite part is making games, different names, skill ideas, enemies. I hate making maps and sprites. Yeah, and we all have things we enjoy more and what we're better at than other things. That's understandable, Storm Eagle. And you already, I can tell you've got a knack for this because you've come up with this already. I kind of enjoy most elements of making games, but if I'm 100% honest, the part I like least is anything that involves the maths. So doing any formulas so I like coming up with the skills and doing things like the skill tree and deciding the look of the tree and where things are going to be and the creative part of it. But I'm not going to as much enjoy putting things into the RPG Maker to make it work, because that's where all the maths comes in and thinking of the formulas and how we're gonna, and I'm that's my weaker side of things. But hopefully I can do it. I'll learn and I'll get help and ideas from people, I'm sure. My skills go Archer is meant to be a sneaky deaky assassin with a bot. A bot? Don't forget to eat children. Oh no. You guys are bad influences. I like stuns and debuffs and crowd controls. To me, combat is successful if you act before the enemy and never get hit. Yeah. Everybody's got their way. Like, I'm very impatient when it comes to battles. I just want to get right there and attack. That's just me. I like brute force, should I say, but sometimes it's not always the smart option, is it? You're against it. Yeah, Elite's got a little kid, so he's got to be against it. I have an idea for a hunter trapper subclass, like tracking skills, traps and tricks. Chocolate children are sweet. Chocolate bunnies and chocolate bears are nice too. And chocolate reindeers. I have one of those for Christmas. Okay, well, if you do come up with any others, like any other skills, then just feel free to pop them in the ideas channel. Of course, guys. Right, so we'll get these ideas of yours into this little box here. And if we have to make it bigger, we will. We probably will need to make it bigger to be sure, because we've got Akira's and we've got some that Kung suggested too. We'll get all those in the box and then we can look at them together at the end, and then we can decide which ones we'll have as our first three that can fall into the start, which ones work best there, and then we'll just keep the others in the box until we feel, when we get more of an idea where they can go. We'll do it a bit at a time so we don't get overwhelmed with too much in one go. Okay, so Woodsman 1, 2 and 3. Passive skill. Increases evasion chance and critical rate by 10%. Okay, so as it's a passive skill, I'm going to use a circle for it. We're going to have the circle for passive and square for active skills. I'm going to keep this notepad file on my other monitor actually, so I don't have to, so it doesn't keep going. Okay, and I'll zoom in a bit more because we can zoom in. We're only working on the box at the moment, so and obviously guys, if anybody has any suggestions in chat or thoughts about these skills as we get them in, feel free to say. My brain doesn't tend to work while I'm streaming, so sometimes I don't take information in on how things work mechanically or until after stream. Usually after stream I read things again and I'm like, oh, that'll be cool, or that's weird. I always realise afterwards. I don't even know what's going on in chat right now. Are you guys misbehaving again? Okay, we can make this a bit bigger. But we're not, for now, although you've got different levels, we're going to just put it there without the levels for now, just so we don't have too much here. But we kind of know that most of these skills are going to have different levels, so we'll just refer back to the Discord or the notepad file in that case. I am looking with confusion. The skills seem pretty good so far. Evasion and crits, a good start for Fifi classes. Yeah. And I suppose the Hunter kind of has a bit of that in them, in a way. They have to, because they're squishy. And yeah, this will gradually increase as it levels up. Next one is a passive skill as well, so... So it's always good to have our passive skills. Sometimes people think about those active skills more often, but it's very important to consider the passive ones too, so I'm glad we have. Like elves in trees, maybe it could be a marksman, it's part of the hunter tree. Oh right, forgot the hunter tree is class named. I'm confused again, guys. What are we discussing here? And hi Keena, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Welcome back to the stream. It's good to hope you're having a good Wednesday. I hope it's treating you well. Try thinking ideas for vampire. Don't like Storm. If Elite wants to suggest hunter ideas, that's fine too. We're all working on this together at the end of the day. So no arguing, guys. No fighting. We'll all feel free to just talk about things, and we'll see what works best. So yeah, and even I just want to confirm as well, if I miss any like suggestions that you give, feel free to put them in the Discord as well after stream, because sometimes I might miss some things in chat, especially if chat's going up quite fast. Streamlabs OBS isn't always friendly to me with going back in chat. Like skill ideas, I think she was going to use Vampire Masquerade clans for the vamp subclasses. Yeah, they were kind of going to be a bit of inspiration. I was going to have a little peek at those. I mean, we don't have to be completely following that game, but it'll be good as a base. We're not fighting, we're talking. Yeah, I kind of sensed there was a bit of conflict going on, and I want this stream to be a very friendly place. And I might be wrong, maybe there was none of that going on at all. But I just want to keep this community very warm-hearted and friendly. Yeah, I usually skip hunting games because I'm a vegan. Yeah, you're vegan. I've got some almond milk here. It's good. I much prefer it to normal milk. Okay, so next skill, piercing arrow, an all basic attack which ignores all armor. Cool. So we'll get a square for that. I was going to put piercing armor in then. Piercing arrow. You know, armor's a weird word because some people spell it without the U and others do. I'm sure us British people spell it with a U, but I think it actually looks very weird with a U. So we'll keep it like that. But although I kind of want to keep the British spelling just for consistency because I'm British, but I don't know. I've always felt armor looks very strange with a U in it. And that is kind of how we do spell it, I'm pretty sure. Almond milk is great. Yeah, it's my new favourite thing. I'm having it every day at the moment. Oh my goodness. It looks really weird on the cam. My cam's gone very strange lately. Even Mug isn't visible. Poor thing. Have to sort that out. Good vamp class names, tank, DPS, and debuff. Oh yeah, we still haven't thought of those. Where are we? Can never find the arrow on this thing. Yeah, we still got question marks for the names, but Akira did briefly mention, maybe some others in chat yesterday, of what those classes could be. Those specialist classes, and they were loosely based on Vampire Masquerade, I believe. So I can't remember what they are. I will have to refer to the notes to remind myself, but maybe we'll do that after we've done Hunter. Isn't armour for British and armour for all Americans? Yeah, that's how it is. So I kind of do want to stick with the British Spain, but for some reason it puts a silly red line under it. I don't know why it does, because it is a word. But we will stick to British spelling. Like, just if you guys ever like write dialogue or anything, I will add a U or make it British, just because, for consistency. And because otherwise the game will have a mixture of words without the U and then bits with the U. And just like that, the work piled up in the office. I haven't been here the past hour. I think better go take care, everyone. Oh my goodness, Juice. I hope it's treating you okay and it's not too overwhelming. Thank you for hanging out with us, Juice. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you soon. Okay, so yeah, we'll make that a bit bigger. So Nimble Marksman, levels 1 and 2, and that's also a passive skill. So we'll pull the passive skills together. That's a funny shape, circle. There we go. There's a bit of a squash circle, it looked like. Some ideas will cross-pose in Discord when I get some more DPS. Bloodletter, Ravager tank, Bloodlord, Reaver debuff, Impaler, Tormentor. They sound badass elite. I like it. Okay, so we got a few more, all active skills, these last ones, so there's 3. So I'm just gonna squeeze these up a little bit because we've got more on the way. Puncture the sky. Loads arrows into bone, shoots, dealing the same damage as his basic attack to all enemies, but at decreased accuracy. Okay, I'm gonna simplify that a bit. I won't put archer, I'll just put loads. My goodness, the typos. Can we simplify that at all so we can make it a little bit of a smaller square maybe? Right, so what about a system will this game use? Normal, active, time battle, or a different one? I believe we're going to be using the vanilla, the RPG Maker, simply because there's more chance to kind of add on top of it if we start changing it and having a more unique sort of battle system. Then we kind of might limit ourselves, because we will be using the Yanfly plugins, and a lot of them work better with the ATB, the vanilla, I believe. So yeah, the normal one basically, whatever the default is. I can look and double check if I open RPG Maker, but I haven't got it open at the moment. But yeah, it's whatever one is the default. Blood. But yeah, it's kind of sort of turn-based, actually. I think because we're using the turn-based thing, the squares at the top. We've got the plugin for that, so I'm actually going to look, because I'm curious myself now. I'm just going to open RPG Maker and have a peek in the Battle Core plugin and see what we've got the setting as, because we hadn't really focused much on battle in our Raindrop Chronicles, so my memory doesn't serve me very well at all here. Yeah, it says default turn battle, so that's what we're using. There's also active turn battle, charge turn battle, and standard turn battle, but we're using the default, which is just default turn based then by the look of it. And yeah, we're using the plugin for showing, it shows the characters' icons and whose turn it is next in there. So it's always similar to Final Fantasy X once again, with how it is more than, yeah, it's more turn based than active time, so it seems. We'll post to Discord. Thank you, Elite, that's awesome. Appreciate you coming up with some awesome names. And we'll probably be able to do a bit of vampire today as well, because once we've got all the hunter skills put in, we'll move on to vampire. That'd be cool. Alright, so where were we? Warframe? My goodness, why have I put Warframe? I haven't played that game in forever. What a typo. Okay, so Aja goes into hiding for a couple of turns, meanwhile increasing evasion rate drastically. That's pretty interesting. Hides. But I'll put 2 turns. We can always amend it, but we'll have it as 2 turns for now, because couple usually means 2. Because yeah, I do agree these evasion based and critical skills are very kind of, the stats I see being the ones that Hunter will be more focused on increasing, because we said that there'd be more of a dodger, I'd say. Definitely someone that is good at dodging, so I'm in agreement here that evasion and critical are the ones that suit very well. And the warrior has completely different ones. It'll all be a bit of large HP pool and high damage more for the warrior, depending on what build you go for. In the skill idea channel, waiting there for you in case I'm streaming when get to vamp. Awesome, thank you Elite. But what I'll do anyway is after stream at some point, once I've had my dinner, I'll post a screenshot of what we've done today in there anyway, so that peeps can say what they think. Even if they weren't able to be in the stream today, then they'll be able to see then what we did. I'm still hungry. I don't like actually eating food on stream though. And I don't want to spoil dinner either. Okay, so increasing evasion rate drastically. Yeah, and I see that the level up of it cleanses negative effects, which is a cool thing to do when it levels up. So I will refer to the second level ones eventually too. But I do want to mainly put focus on the first level ones for now, considering we're at the start of the game. And I think there's one more you've got now, which is Hunter's Mark. And that one is select target to hunt. A hunted target has decreased defences and evasion rate. I'll just put selected target to just sum the description up a bit more, make it a bit shorter. Selected target has okay, I think I put it all in correctly. Correct me if there's anything I might have done wrong. But we've got 3 passive skills and 4 active ones there. And we're going to look at some others now as well. Okay, so I'm looking at Kung's first, and I think Kung suggested a shot with venom or poison, and I think that one would be good for the trap master, because they, like we say, use traps and venom to keep the foes at a distance. But we'll think about more of the categories afterwards, but we'll just get them all in the box for now. And she said fast, quick shot, heavy and damage, but long time cooldown. And cooldown's an interesting thing that's been brought up actually, because I don't think cooldown's in the vanilla battle system, but I am familiar with a plugin that I think adds a cooldown thing to the battle system. So that is something to look into, even though that cooldown isn't a thing in the default. And it could be very useful having cooldowns. What do you guys think about having cooldowns on our skills? It adds a bit more thought and strategy to the thing. Trapper Singh gives some ideas in Discord. Awesome, Storm, thank you very much. And if we don't get everything put in today, or say you think of some later, then feel free to do after stream too. And super useful. Cooldown's another way to balance the power of certain skills. Yeah, I didn't even think about that until I read Kung's skill idea for what she said. So now she mentioned that, like a high damage skill for Hunter, but one that has a very slow cooldown. That's what made me think about it, and I've just remembered there is a plugin. So yeah, I'm going to look into that. I'm going to make sure I make a note of that so I remember. As long as they aren't on anything. Yeah, as long as we don't abuse it. But it could be very good for some skills. Hi, Cop. An Irish one. I'm from England. You're close. So it's the place next door to Ireland. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream, Cobb. It's a voice of an angel. Thank you, Elite. But yeah, I mean, this is what we'll decide together. When I've downloaded the plugin, and we'll be able to say which skills we believe should have a cooldown and which ones shouldn't. So we'll decide. Obviously not everything will. Okay, so pets are good for keeping aggro so that the hunter can stay ranged. Yeah, we haven't considered the pets yet, so that's something else to consider. And right, so now Akira's skills. I'm going to look what Akira's got for Hunter here. And I'm just going to get these put into the notepad file as well. Arrow Rain. Deal 30% weapon damage. This one's an AoE. And this one, I don't see this one being one. This would be later in the skill tree, I think. What do you guys think about AoE skills? Do you see them being more of a later skill? They definitely won't be too early, because I mean, it depends, because some AoE skills are fine and not OP. I think somebody said yesterday how single target skills could be strong and AoE ones weaker if they're going to do them all. So in a way that balances AoE skills out a bit and doesn't make them seem as OP if it's done that way, I guess. The 30% weapon damage, I guess we can always alter that if we feel it's OP. We don't have to stick rigidly with the numbers that we've got here. We can just test them out a bit and balance them if necessary, to all of your opponents. Thank you, Elite, for those commands. I appreciate you letting Cobb know, because sometimes I'm slow at replying to chat because I'm rambling on, but I appreciate that, Elite. Early AoE can be okay if they are balanced out by being lower damage or high MP cost. Yeah. So we can do it. We can have our awareness an earlier thing on the skill tree as long as we don't make it too OP then. And as it levels up, it can get more OP. You know what I mean? It can be, its first level can be weak, but it would just gradually get super OP. By the time it's level 5, it's super powerful, and that'll be at the end of the hunter's skill tree. And then, but that would definitely be the DPS sort of hunter, wouldn't it? Sometimes a strong, it was you that said it, Storm. Sometimes a strong AoE ability at the beginning can be really fun, but you only give them enough MP to use it. Yeah, it could either have a cooldown or a lot of MP, or it could just be weak and not as strong as a single target one. It's up to us how we handle it, I guess. Hi, sorry for the long lurk. Been crazy in the office today. No problem, Azrael. There's going to be times that you guys are busy. I know, but Juice has been busy at work today as well. Rex has been super busy at work lately too. So, you know, it's fine. You just lurk away if ever you're busy. No problem. I'm chatting, all honesty. Like, say if nobody was in chat, like it was just me on my own streaming this, I would be totally fine. There's plenty I've got to occupy myself with here. I ramble on away to myself forever anyway, and I just get the ideas down, put them in Discord later so peeps can see them if they weren't able to be in the stream. There's never any pressure to chat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I adore an active chat. There's nothing better or more fun than having an active chat. I think any streamer would agree there. But no worries at all, there's never any pressure, guys. And I hope the office, I hope it hasn't been too stressful, Azrael. It's nearly the weekend. Well, kind of. It's kind of not, but nearly. It's midweek. But, okay, so we're going to get, basically we'll get Akira's skills put in our box. We'll have to probably make it a bit bigger maybe, so we've got some room. We can always, I think we could do making that description a bit short because it's a bit big, and then we'll get room to put Akira's skills all in here. And I think Kung's got a couple as well, so we'll put them in. And then we will, before we decide where they go on the skill tree, we'll move on to vampire, I think, because I would really like to get some vampire ideas put in before the end of stream. And because then when I post it on Discord what we've done, at least people in the community can say, and they might have some ideas for vampire as well, and where it can all, we can talk about things like position on skill tree easily on Discord anyway. And thank you, Krillai, for that follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. It's good to meet you. All my almond milk is gone now. And you guys still can't see my Twitch hoodie very well. Just looks like I'm wearing a random purple hoodie. I want to show that it's a Twitch one. Okay, so I'm just looking at kids. Eagle Eye, passive. %, more accuracy. And some of these skills might, like, you know, be similar to what, who knows what Kung or Storm suggested, and if so, we can always just merge them into the same thing. Charge shot, active. Yeah, ignore 20% limit. I think we had, do we have something similar to that? We'll figure out a way to make it work or merge them anyway. Snake venom, active. 5 poison damage for 5 turns. And yeah, Kung, I think Kung suggested, let's have a look, a venom shot. So that kind of works as the venom shot, this one here. And the only other one Kung suggested was the one with the cooldown, so I'll add that one in too. So I'm going to think how we can shorten this. Loads arrows into bow. We can always just have that, couldn't we? So that's sort of an AoE as well. But judging by that, it's an AoE that might miss, potentially. So although it sounds super powerful because it hits all enemies, it actually has the chance of missing some enemies. That's pretty cool. There we go. Still want the box to be a touch bigger, maybe. Okay, so let's get... Okay, there was 1 passive and 3 actives. And was 1 an armor one? Normal base attack which ignores all armor. Should it ignore all armor, or should it ignore a percentage of armor? And then have it level so it can increase. Because maybe if it ignores all armor, that'd be OP. I'm not sure. Some of these things we won't know until we've tested, I guess. But that would merge with the charged shot skill. So I'm going to put charged shot as well, because it's the same thing basically as Akira's charged shot. Oh gosh, I messed it up. The only difference is Akira's is 20% of all armor instead of all. So it's just a question of if we are going to add that or whether we'll have it be a percentage. Yeah, maybe we should. So instead of all, well, for now we'll put 20% and have a steady increase as we get more OP. So it feels like for early on that would be quite OP. There we go. So that means we've got Eagle Eye, which is a passive, Arrow Rain and Snake Venom. So just make this a bit longer and we'll get the passive one in, which is, I mean, we've already got quite a lot of skills for Hunter here, and not even any of the animal ones yet. And we're probably going to have more. Some of them we could end up merging, like, if you know what I mean. But we'll say, like, we'll see. Because there's nothing wrong with having a skill tree with a lot of skills on it. It all depends. Because at the same time, we don't want Hunter to have way more than the Warrior or the Vampire. They've got to have, like, an equal amount of skills. So they can all fit into the same, similar skill tree template. But it's good to get all ideas down anyway. I'd rather have more than none at all, if you get what I mean. And we can always, like, narrow things down a bit at another time. I feel like a Hunter should have a bigger chance of getting animal-based items like skin, bone, etc. after battle. Stuff for crafting, that's really cool, Cheese. And I swear I've got a note somewhere that mentions a Hunter skill that, oh, where is it? I know exactly where that note is. It's here. I forgot that I've got my own here. There's one called Trap, and I don't know if we're going to call it Trap, but it kills off weakened enemies for extra loot. And it would, I assume that would be passive when learnt, and we could have it level up so that at level 1 you'd get your extra loot from a certain type of enemy, and then maybe as it levels up you'll get extra loot from other types of enemies maybe. But maybe we should just have it for the animal based ones, but it could just increase with percentage maybe. So 20% animal loot, 40% animal loot, 60% animal loot as it levels up maybe. Because I feel like that's relevant to Hunter to make it animal based loot rather than bandit loot, because different enemies will have different type of loot, and maybe other classes would be better for gaining more loot from that, from other types of enemies. And so yeah, I think that's cool. So what I'm going to put here, animal based enemies, just so we remember. Thank you for that, Cheese. You've reminded me, because I nearly forgot about that. Stuff for crafting. And yeah, we will be having a crafting system in Raindrop Chronicles for sure. We already have the plugin installed. It's a Yanfly one. And it loot. That's basically what the point of battles will be in Raindrop Chronicles. Getting class points for our skill trees and getting loot. Loot that we can either sell for currency at shops, or loot that we can use for crafting to make things. And we haven't really discussed what those things will be yet, or items in the game much, but we're definitely going to have an item focus stream in the near future where we can sort things like that out and think of ideas that would work as a cool passive. Yeah, and so what I'm also going to put is passive in brackets, and I'm going to get that added in a sec. I think the arrow flurry is very similar to Akira's arrow rain, so we don't need to put that in. And the steady shot one's interesting as well, so I might add that if we've got nothing similar, of course. But let's get the rest of these in. There's more skills for Hunter ideas you've given me than I thought would be, guys. We've kicked Hunter's butt in comparison to Warrior. But there's no pressure. We'll slowly think of more over time, I'm sure, because we're only thinking of what's going to cover the Everbloom Forest for now and the dungeon after Everbloom Forest. And when the time comes that we need to think of more, because we'll get further in the game, we'll have more dungeons, we can expand on our skill tree then. I feel like because it's an episodic game, having a skill tree that locks, like it'll get to a point where you can't get past this point now, and everything else, there's like a gate sort of thing, and you don't know what's behind that gate, is a good idea. And then when episode 2 gets released, episode 3, the gate opens and reveals more skills. And I think that's a good concept, just to take away the pressure from us as the people that make in the skill tree as well, so we don't get burnt out from having to get the whole skill tree done before episode 1's release. Having that gate will make us think, well, we only need to think of the early part of the skill tree for now. But in all honesty, like, to be honest, mid-level skill tree, end-level skill tree will pretty much be similar to what we've got, because it'll just be the later levels. So, you know, it probably won't be too hard anyway to think of those endgame skills. They're basically already there. Once we've got them, we've got them. They're just level 5, level 4 versions of these. Version of the Hunter skills, cool. I'll have a peek at that too. Yesterday I wasn't around to think about Warrior as I was busy. No problem at all, Storm. And if you have any ideas for Warrior 2, you can pop those in the Discord as well, for sure. Tomorrow's stream will probably continue from this. We'll likely, by tomorrow's stream, we'll have a few skills in all of their boxes, and it'll be more about thinking of where their position on the skill tree for tomorrow's stream, I'd say. And then And then we can spend next week actually making these work in RPG Maker, like seeing them, how they actually would work in battle. And we'll just do a skill at a time. We won't do them all. Obviously, we're not going to do them all in one go. We'll break it, or we'll literally just start with the first. We'll do 3 skills of each. The very first section of the skill tree. And as we get through the game, we'll slowly do more of the skills. But it's always good to have that plan and have it all written up on this piece of software, so we know what's to come. Or the hunter is able to craft items like leather, arrows, etc. from bones, animal skins, etc. which the leather can then be used to make leather armour and stuff. Just rolling some ideas. Awesome, Cheese. I'm going to copy and paste your idea, because I've got I always have a notepad file open up during stream, and anything interesting that people say, I pop it in there, so because otherwise I'll forget and that'll be a shame. It's an awesome idea. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, no pressure to check the Discord. I mean, I might not be able to check on this stream either, because I want to kind of move on to Vampire. We might not be able to, but I'd really like to at least get some of Vampire's ideas in. And we can always continue, flesh out the Warren Hunter more tomorrow's stream. So what was it? The passive Eagle Eye. And this was 20% more accuracy. And a lot of these passives are very similar, if you know what I mean. It's a lot of different stat types that you get in the buff from the increase. And we might want to like narrow things down a bit and think which ones Hunter's going to really focus on out of evasion, critical rate, critical damage, agility, luck and accuracy, because that is a lot of stats there. And we might want to just focus on 2 of them maybe. And then we can narrow down the passives that we can have for Hunter. And we can always use these for other future classes. We'll make a note. What I'll probably do for the skills that we decide not to go ahead with, if some are too similar to others, we'll have another box and we'll pop them in there, and we can say for future classes. And then we can bring them in for whoever it would be relevant for. Another interesting idea is the Hunter would select a target at random during the start of the battle and would have an eye symbol above it, where doing damage to the marked creature would do extra damage. Oh yeah, Hunter's Mark. Yeah, Hunter's Mark, we've got it here. Selected target has decreased defences and evasion rates. So yeah, is that kind of what you're talking about, Cheese? That sort of thing that this sort of ability does? It's a very good one for Hunter, for sure. I like that one too. But yeah, at some point we might have to narrow things down if we feel we're getting a bit heavy with the skills, because we will be having multiple levels of these, which would potentially leave us with 100+ skills just from these alone. And you know, it could be too much. So if it does feel like that, we will just have to put some in our box for future classes, and there will be some that will be really useful for other classes as well. So, but for the ones that we really like, and we'll be like, no, that has to stay, that's perfect Hunter. But especially some of these passives, I'd say we'll have to narrow down more than anything. But some different ones might suit different builds. Like one of these could go perfect for the DPS one, and one of them could suit the caregiver of animals one more, or the other, that one. So I feel like we should have at least, you know, one passive in each of these builds that like represents that build. So maybe we'd only have to remove one of these, and we can put one passive in each for whatever one is most appropriate for what that build does. Are the monsters going to be physically walking around a dungeon, or will it be random encounters? Oh, geez, we have on-map encounters in Raindrop Chronicles. I don't know if you've been around when we've been doing play tests, but you might have noticed little shadow sprites, silhouettes, hopping about on the map or moving around. Basically, they're the encounters. You run into them and the battle starts. And then when the battle ends and you kill them, they disappear, and you gain your loot, you gain your points. And if you go off the map, we'll set it up so they respawn, but they'll be gone. If you clear the map, they'll stay, but they'll respawn if you... I think it'll be cool to have a respawn thing, because otherwise some people might want to grind, and I don't want to take that away from them if they do. So at the moment we have it set so that they don't respawn. Jazz Babe, how are you doing? Long time no see, hope you're doing well. It's awesome to see you. How is your Wednesday treating you? But yeah, a lot of people, we had a poll for that, Cheese. We just thought, I put on it random encounters or on map encounters, and honestly most people wanted the map encounters. Random wasn't very popular. Seemed a lot of people have something against random encounters. But the on map has a lot of pluses. It's good because it doesn't frustrate people as much. They get to choose when they want to battle, and they're prepared for it more. So it stops that frustration. It's a good idea. So that leads me to an idea I saw in Apex Legends, where the character Bloodhound can see clues and a trail of enemies that were there recently, like fading out footprints as the trail goes cold. Oh, cool! Oh my goodness, can you send me like a reference or a video of that? Because that sounds cool, but I'd love to visually be able to get it more. But I'm gonna copy what you've said so I can look back and remind myself of that, because I don't want to forget. The map on map encounters. Good, thank you. Became an uncle like 2 weeks ago. So happy. Oh, that's so sweet, Daz Babe. Congratulations. That's awesome. And hi, Cereal. Thank you for the kind words. I hope you're having a good day. Okay, so we have 4 passives here, and there's a chance we will remove at least one of these and keep just 3 passives, so that one each could fit well into our little builds we've got here. As we I think it's a really good idea to stick to 3 builds per class and keep that consistency with our template. We just got to be creative, and we'll think of 3 for each class for sure. And what was the other one? There was Arrow Rain. Deal 30... No, that's not it. Hang on. Yeah, deal 30% weapon damage. And I'm actually going to put a question mark as the percentage for now, because part of me wonders whether 30% is too OP for an AoE, especially if it's one that we put early. We might want to make it a little bit weaker and it can slowly get a bit stronger over time. Only testing will tell us whether it's OP or not. So that's an AoE. I'm actually putting brackets just so people might, so they know, because sometimes from the description alone you don't quite get it. I don't sometimes. And the other one is snake venom. it's your first time motivated to look after yourself health-wise. Oh, that's awesome. That's super awesome. I'm proud of you, Daz, babe. Unsure if you're taking skill ideas, but for a hunter, a poisoned elemental arrow could be a cool idea. Yeah, snake venom, just as we was doing it, Daz, babe. Because we do have a build for our hunter. If we look here, we've got a little description of the 3 builds. We're going for one of them is a trap master, which they use traps and venom to keep foes at distance. They're like the survivalist. So I think this snake venom poison ability will be perfect for them, basically. And yeah, we've got the numbers in here of the damage it's going to do and the percentage, but they're not completely set in stone. Sometimes we might have to edit them if we find it's too much or too little, but it's there for now. And that's a dot as well. It's the dot. It's not just, well, poison is always a dot anyway, isn't it? And Rose will have a similar thing with her vampire. With her vampire, she's going to definitely have a bleed that works similar to the poison. So, snake venom, charge shot was kind of, yeah, that's there. Eagle eye and arrow rain. So they're all in. Got all those ones in, and the only ones we haven't got in yet are this one, the trap. Kills off weakened animal based enemies for extra loot. And then, yeah, that's a sort of debuff, and I think that might be a good one to have, maybe, especially for the one that want the survivalist one, the survivalist build. So we've got absolutely loads of ideas for hunting. I mean, who knows? Maybe that's about the right amount of skills we'll need. It's hard to tell at this point before we've planned a skill tree. But because they're going to level up, there's going to be lots of levels with skills. We could end up with a ton. But let's not forget we have 3 builds. So it might seem like a lot looking at this box, but when we divide them into 3, it's probably not a lot at all. So we might be totally fine. But we still haven't thought of ones for this middle one yet. So we'll see. Okay, so I'm going to get the last of the hunter skills put in. Trap. Killed off weakened animal-based enemies for extra loot. And this one's a passive, so I'll actually... extra loot from animal based enemies. And whether we'll have it level, I don't know, but we'll leave it for that for now. Right, so I'll have true shot. We'll just add another. And obviously when we put the descriptions of these into the skill tree, we'll be more consistent, because at the moment we're calling the enemies opponents and enemies, and a multiple number of different words. And we'll either just call them enemies or opponents. We won't call them both, just for consistency. But for now it doesn't matter, because these are just rough ideas. Normal attack that lowers enemy speed. And now pets in battle. Was there another one that Kong suggested? Yeah, quick shot. Heavy on damage, but long time cooldown. I don't know about quick shot for that name, but thinking hard shot, but that don't sound right. Or strong shot, but that's not a very creative way of doing it. Surely there's a better name. Just call it question mark for now. Heavy damage, I'll put heavy attack. So this is like true shot, except a heavier version a little bit, but it doesn't give a debuff. It's just a long cooldown. Okay, so I think we've got everything really that we need in, but move these across. Keep all the passives together. And this is also an AoE. And I'm going to just put it as well. Know if we should, yeah, I don't know if we should use a cloud. You'll see what I've got planned in a sec. I want to use another symbol though. I don't know if that's Now, we won't put a symbol in, but I want to put some text in, just as a note. Now, actually, it doesn't matter. What I was going to do was put a note saying, remember to think of animal skills for this second branch. But we don't need to that because we can see right there that we've got a build that does animals. So we'll think of those at another point. But I feel like the ones we've got will fall more into these two somewhere. So yeah, as you can see, we've got far more ideas for hunter than warrior right now. But we'll think more over time for warrior, I'm sure. We're not going to think where to place them in the skill tree yet. We'll wait a bit for that. We'll get some thoughts about vampire down first. I'm going to save my doc because I've got lots of new information in there. Okay, so I think Elite left us with 3 builds for vampires, so I'm just going to have a peek at what they are in the Discord. Ooh. My goodness, this is a lot of skills for Hunt. We've got even more, and this is for the trap one, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome that we've got all these ideas. But I'll just say now we might have to narrow it down if we find we end up with too much. But like I said, I'd rather have more than not enough. So thank you, Storm, for those suggestions. But I'm going to leave Hunter for now. I will make the box bigger though, so we can have room for those skills. And I might have to start labelling them as well with the build type, just so we know, because at the moment I haven't labelled any of them. And some of them, like the one snake venom and the trap one particularly, will suit that particular build more. So We'll have to label them for sure. But yeah, I just want to have a look before stream ends, because we are coming towards the end. I do want to have a little peek at Vampire, just because we've neglected it completely today. And then that way tomorrow's stream we can focus on all three and kind of dip into all three, and that'll include Hunter and those new skills that Storm's just put in the Discord. Maybe we can think of more for Warrior too. But I have a little... Oh, here they are. Here are some Vampire Specialist ideas. DPS, Bloodletter, Ravager. But Tank, Pure Blood, Reaver. Let me think what names I like. For the DPS one... I kind of like Butcher. Is that very aggressive of me to like that one? I don't know if Vampire would work as a tank class, because in some classes we might have one DPS, 2 supports, or 2 supports and 1 DPS. Or, you know, some classes are just not suited for tank. And Rose is very squishy, so I'm not sure she would be very much a tank vampire. But I do love some of these name ideas. And I think Akira did give me a brief idea of 3 different vampire builds. I wish I can remember where I put those, because it might trigger something. I must have put it somewhere. I'm going to just look through my notes. Damn it. I wish I had it. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to look back at yesterday's VOD, because, yeah, I've lost him. And it's only on the VOD at a certain point when the 3 vampire skills were suggested. But where's Vampire here? Not the skill specialisms, I mean. But we can get these skills popped into the Vampire box right now, just so that's something done and out the way before we end stream. So we've got Drain. Yeah, I'm going to copy and paste this. Oh my goodness, thank you for the follow on. I appreciate it. I was figuring out how to pronounce your full name, but I came unstuck, so I thought, on. Oh, you're on. Welcome. I'm just going to copy one of these random ones. We'll just change the colour to red. Okay, so Drain. Traditional vampire skill. Okay, deal 70% of your weapon damage and heal 5% of the damage dealt. Okay, so yeah, I will put the numbers in for now, because they'll work well as a base anyway when doing testing. If we have to alter them, we will. But okay, and there'll be 5 levels of that, but and it'll get more powerful and better each time. Typically, when draining blood from a human, as an example, the human can be very tired due to blood loss. This could lead to a chance of sleep on the enemy human. That's super creative, Cheese. I like your way of thinking. So I'm going to make a note of that as well. But maybe that should be what Drain does as it gets higher level. Like level 1 Drain wouldn't inflict sleep, but maybe level 2 does. Like, or maybe it does, but just a very low percentage. Like we could say 5% chance of inflicting sleep. But then as it levels up, it could increase to 10%, 20%, etc. Because I think it's always interesting to have that possibility of it doing that. What do you reckon? Okay, so yeah, makes sense. Yay. I like the idea for sure. Makes Drain more interesting as well. Bloodlust. So this is a passive, and increase blood magic damage, which is interesting because we haven't even considered magic yet. I don't even know any blood magic skills that Rose could have, or what they'd be, or what they'd do. It's a completely new concept to me, even though I am a vampire. But I'm sure there's probably vampire games out there that have this, probably Vampire the Masquerade. So, judging by this, we will have a branch that is a magic vampire. So there'll be one that's all out DPS, rage, and I think calling that Butcher. I think Butcher's a good name to start off with as an idea, but this would be DPS build. I'll say blood magic build. I'm not sure that would suit, but we'll put that one here. We might change the order of them, of which one's on the left, middle, right, at some point, depending on what looks best or whatever works best, basically. But I'm not sure what we'd call the blood magic build yet. But I feel like Butcher's quite cool for the DPS one. Ravager was another suggestion, which was quite cool too. So I think we're putting passives on the left. Okay, so I'm just going to have a quick peek at elite suggestions. Blue Letter Ravager, Lacerator, Pure Blood, Blood Lord, Reaver, Impaler, Tormentor. I do like a Tormentor's a cool one. Would any of these suit a magic? Blood magic one? I'm not sure. I'll have to ask Elite when we see him again what ones he think could work well for a magic based vampire that uses blood magic. But yeah, we'll keep it as a question mark for now. And what this middle one is, we don't know yet what that's going to end up. Hi, Jiray. Sure is a lot of classes that are related to blood and violence. Nothing like illusions or mind control. Well, there is. We have an illusionist in Raindrop Chronicles right here, Jiray. And it's still a class that hasn't been taken yet. We're simply focusing on the classes that have been taken, and vampire is one of them. Wahaha, that's me, of course. Who else would it be? I mean, for vampires. Well, I mean, because we've got an illusionist, which maybe we don't want to be too similar to illusionist. I mean, sometimes I think some classes might borrow elements from other classes, like for example hunter. We've kind of gone for a sort of beastmaster branch, even though we do have a beastmaster class, but they're not going to be the same. Like, they'll use different types of animals and what they do will be different. But being creative with vampire and thinking what vampire can do is really cool too. And maybe this second branch could be something like that. Who knows? We'll have to talk about and discuss potential skill ideas. So we kind of thought typical DPS, complete, you know, all out rage vampire that is desperate for the blood for that one, and blood magic for more of a magic based one. But I have no idea what those would be, like even what magic skills they'd be. I'd need some ideas for that one for sure. But as we can see from Akira's skill suggestion now, there is a sort of, we can have a blood magic concept. Fair enough, yay. Okay, so what else has Akira got? Blood pumping rush, 1 bonus turn. That's pretty cool for an agility based. Well, a sort of extra turn of speed thing. Because we did say that Rose as a vampire would fall into the thief rogue archetype. Definitely more than mage and warrior, although she kind of can be a bit mage if she is going to have blood magic, sort of. So was that a passive? Oh no, it's an active. I think blood pumping rush is a bit of a long name. We've already got bloodlust. We don't want every skill to have the name blood in it. So we could literally just call it rush. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. So I'll just put that in question mark there for now. It's not even a passive. Why am I doing it in a circle? And that one is 1 bonus turn. And as it increases, it offers more bonus turns, 1, 2, 3, and as well as damage. I don't know if rush is the best name, because rush to me signifies somebody that's a Leroy Jenkins for words, but maybe it's definitely like, you know, they get an extra. Maybe there's a more appropriate name with fits with the whole bonus turn concept. Thirst could be good as well. Would you think that'd be good? Would that match with getting that extra action in battle? I suppose it would, because if you're getting 2 goes, that means you're thirsty. Thirsty. Would the vampire be weak to silver weapons? We kind of have it so the vampire's weak to fire at the moment. We haven't really talked about resistances and weaknesses yet, but obviously we will be at some point. But Akira actually has... somewhere on this doc he has like a section about resistances and weaknesses, so we'll definitely cover those at some point, but we're kind of focusing more on skills at the moment. But maybe they could be weak to silver weapons too, fire and silver weapons. But we'll think about it. What I'll do, I'll put thirst there as well. I kind of do like the short snappy names like rush and thirst more than the longer ones. Maybe that's just a subjective thing, but we'll have that there for now. And there was something else, a blood spear, which I'm uncertain about having a blood spear. I don't know. I'm a noob when it comes to this, even though I'm a vampire. I should know, because I've played a lack of vampire games, to be honest. Surprisingly, I haven't played vampire games. I never played Vampire the Masquerade. So I'll I'll get these ideas posted on the Discord, and maybe some people will have some more ideas there. But there's a lot of potential with Vampire. There's a lot of different clans in this Vampire the Masquerade game that could fit well into different build types. Yeah, I think I just need knowledge from people who have played vampire-based RPGs, and that'll go a long way. Because me alone, talking about Vampire, I struggle. But we got those, and I think we did discuss a bleed ability, so I'm going to just put bleed there as well underneath drain. But bleed would basically be very similar to this one for Hunter. I'm just going to copy that so we can copy it. This one was my idea. I randomly thought of it yesterday, but it's a pretty straightforward one, really. So it would work the same as the poison, except it's a bleed. Okay, so we've got some ideas at least. You could play Code Vein, the most recent Vampire Weave game. I'd love to. I just don't get time to play games now. In all honesty, I don't. I started Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age and I really was enjoying it, but I haven't played it for 2 weeks. It's not that I don't want to, it's just not getting the time. When you become a game dev, it takes up your life, and I'm not going to lie, this project is a big hogger of my time, but I love it. Like, I actually prefer making games over playing them, so never mind. I might just have to sacrifice gaming for a while, but Code Vein is like one of the ones I'd love to play most if I was going to play a game. Battle Sandwich, you're amusing, Rose. Been lurking for a little bit and still mostly going to be lurking. But I hope you had a nice day so far, and I love the colour coding. Seems like you've gotten a ton of progress done. Yeah, it's been a very productive stream. Let's zoom out. And thanks for joining us, Battle Sandwich. I super appreciate you. I was rambling on in Discord loads yesterday about ideas, and I responded to your thing as well. So if you're intrigued, have a peek with what I've responded with. But I have colour coded it. We've got the Warrior Blue, Hunter Green, Vampire Red, and we've even got a box for each of them now. We didn't have that in yesterday's stream, and we're basically going to use that box to plop in skill ideas for each of the classes, because thing is, during stream, people are going to come up with skills, and we had tons for Hunter today, and we've got more. Storm, aka Vale, he came up with all these for Hunter, and he's got all these too, all of these, and yep, some of them level up. So I mean, there's more there than there's less there than it seems. I mean, but there's a lot there. Hunter is like got triple what the other two have. Which isn't a bad thing. It's nice to have all that choice, but it also means that we might have to narrow Hunter down a bit more and start thinking about merging some of the skills so it doesn't get overwhelming. But we do have three different builds at the end of the day, and we do need plenty of skills for each of those builds. But it's because we're only focusing on early game skill tree. You know what I mean? It can be overwhelming to imagine all these skills, but it'll be good to get like just a basic outline of what the tree template would be, and maybe we could use Hunters as that guide, as that template, seeing they're the one with all the skills, and we can literally build an example of how a tree could look with Hunter, and then we can know whether we need to narrow it down or whether we need to, or if we've got a fine amount. And then, yeah, if we use the Hunter as our sort of template, then we can have an idea then how many more skills we need for Vampire and Warrior. But it's not even any pressure, because like I was talking about earlier, we get a good ideal thing for the episodic nature of this game is that we have a gate in our skill tree. So in episode 1, at some point in the skill tree there will be a gate, and that'll be like to say you can't go any further now. It kind of stops people grinding and getting like super OP in episode 1, because some people might do that. And yeah, we'll have a gate, so you can only go so far in the skill tree in episode 1, and you can't actually see what's after that gate until episode 2 comes out. So it kind of takes some pressure off us in a way to get a complete perfect skill tree for all of these classes before the episode 1 release. Then we only have to work on early game skill tree. But at the same time, I still think having at least one of the skills, or like sort of basic template of how a full skill tree could work, will be ideal, so that it doesn't surprise us at any point. Because if we don't plan ahead, we might be in for a nasty surprise and if we're unplanned. But I think we're doing good. We are coming to the end of the stream now. Oh my goodness, how is it that time already? Goodness me, my goodness, got carried away. But it has been a productive stream. I'm just gonna look now at if there's anybody online that we can pass the love to. I think we should go say hi to Ella because it's her birthday today. So if it's somebody's birthday, it totally makes sense to give them the love. So it's all saved, it auto saves. We got everything planned out. It's not some vampire build stuff we still haven't decided, like what that middle build will be. I'm pretty clueless about blood magic still, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow. We'll just flesh these out tomorrow more, basically. We'll have another stream, but we'll flesh things out. So guys, we're gonna go on and raid now. It is 6 PM. We're coming to the end of my stream. It'd be awesome if you could join in, even if you can't stick around. Just do the Rose Raid Blood emote of your choice, just to show some support. Say happy birthday to Ella because it's her birthday today. And okay, so I'm gonna just hide this away, get Twitch up. Don't want you know nosing and seeing who I'm following. So get the stream up, get the raid command ready, and I will see you all tomorrow for Halloween. Have an awesome Wednesday. Bye guys, take care.